like that. No, I love it. So I totally get where you're coming from with that.
Okay,
yeah, it's so nice.
Yeah. I'm gonna say mine real quick while the baby's not crying in the background. One of mine is basically massive. I love that joint because basically I learned how to create different sound on there and manipulate different types of wave formats, sine, whatever the case may be, and pretty much it has a lot of ability to make different sounds, different from drum sounds to synth sounds, bass. That plugin, it fits right in there. You can replace a lot of different things, and it has great sound output. Another I would have to go with is Reactor, and reason why is when I was starting out, that was like one of the first plugins I had, and I could get good melodies out of Reactor pretty easily. It has a lot of extra sounds already there. I can manipulate a couple of knobs and get a good tune out of it.
Right. Okay. So you guys are using plugins more for sound design than anything else.
Right. Well, yeah.
No, cool. Yeah, I've got like the gear behind me for that kind of stuff, and the synths. So I'm not using a lot of software synths for plugin. Yeah, but it's all good. The plugins that I've seen, and I mean, having said that, I mean, I've got Moogs and Profits and Eurorack stuff, but I still use Novation's Bass Station for coming, soft synth within Studio One. I'm using that a little bit to take the stuff rather than sometimes going through the synth. It's just quick. It's handy. That's what plugins are. They're quick and easy. But if I want to get a specific sound or something that I really want to design completely from scratch, then as I said before, because of my love of outboard gear, I will go to the synths just so I can feel it a little bit. But I don't know. I'll talk about my plugins last. But what are your favorite plugins, Wax?
My plugins, and I want to compliment you guys for your plugins, especially you, Vince. Those are some good plugins. I've been interested in that Omen Sphere, man.
Ooh, I'm telling you.
Shouldn't say this, oh wow, but I tried to download it. Couldn't get it to work. But I definitely think I want to add it to my library just to have it and at least say that, hey, I know how it sounds, It'd be good for that. But a couple of my plugins. One that I use a lot is it's by DMG Audio. I don't know if you guys know who they are.
Yeah.
But they make a lot of for manipulating audio. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But their one plugin I use a lot just for cutting my highs and lows is Equality.
All right. Okay. Vince,
it's all that 8-band equalizer, and you can put your analyzer on there, and it analyzes. It shows you the spectrums, all that fancy stuff that you're gonna like to make you keep using it and come back and use it. It's very basic, and it's there, and it has a few moves you can switch it between. That makes sense, but I don't really understand the backbone of them. But somebody like Nick would get right underneath them.
No, but that's
You're
great.
reading the manual.
Yeah, absolutely. But no, that's good that you're using, spectralizing and stuff. I think it really helps.
Yeah, it does.
When you're in a mix, things that you can't hear. I mean, if you haven't got top end monitors, sometimes it can help you isolate certain things. Especially bass frequencies are the death of a lot of mixers. The fact that you can't hear frequencies because you're for two reasons. One, you don't understand where to cut off. So below 40 hertz, anything below 40 hertz is a waste of time being there unless you're using subwoofers or you're mixing for cinemas or something like that. Your normal speakers, you just can't hear that. So sometimes if you've got a large instrument, for example, something simple like a bass drum or something, and you've got a rumble there and you can't hear that, those spectrum analyzers and things are fantastic to actually there is something there. So if you're not using an EQ, it's great you can see that and you can cut that straight away and just get rid of those frequencies that humans can't even hear. but you'll be able to feel them. So if you haven't got the gear, then yeah, I think they're great. You know, those things. What other plugins do you use? So use that. What else?
It helps a great deal to honestly be able to see that spectrum. Like, you know, you might have one of those off days where your ears are off, and you know you can see that spectrum in it. I have it turned up so that you can see it real finely, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Cool.
The more sensitive, the better graph you're gonna get.
I have a plug-in that I tend to use. It's called Isotope Vinyl or whatever, and I use it to like add noise and vinyl effects to tracks that like I don't have because I'm one of those producers. I don't have a vinyl player or whatever, so get that vinyl sound. I utilize that plug-in, and it works. I mean, it does the job, you know.
Yeah, no, that's good. No, it's a little useful plug-in.
Yes.
Vinyl one if you want to add noise into it and stuff.
Yes.
But I find it a bit repetitive. I mean, one of the tricks that I used to use was you find loads of stuff on YouTube where people have recorded. I mean, I don't advise everyone to do this because you know you can. If somebody wants to be a bit naughty about it, they say it's free, then there's suddenly. I mean, the chances of them identifying on the record is like, you know, billions to one. I mean, you can hardly hear it, but people have, you know, hours, at least 2-3 hours of just natural vinyl scratches. And I mean, you can do this yourself. You've got a turntable and vinyl and just stick it on at the end of the record going around and just record it, sample it, and then actually use that within your own recording. You get a very nice, rich source, and it's warmer, and it's authentic. Having said that, the plugin, again, that vinyl plugin, that Isotope one, is great. It's a free plugin. And yeah, it gives you the effect. So it depends how much you want to do it. But if you want to do the real
I don't think it's free anymore. It was like a temporary free, wasn't it?
Right,
so
okay.
Temporarily free, and it's not anymore.
Oh, okay. Wow. Well, lucky us. I got it when it was free. It's like that other one. What else did I get?
They gave away something, and then they jacked the price up to like $80. I was like, "What?
Yeah,
oh my god!"
Quite a good segue. Quite a good segue for my plugins, in fact. One of my favourite plugins that I'm using at the moment has got to be the Shep 73 EQ. That's really, really nice. It's done by Waves, and I mentioned it before, but what I like about it is the fact that the way it's set up is you start to cut frequencies straight away rather opposed to boosting them, and it just gives you a really nice sound. And the fact that you can have individuals left and right and link them and sort phasing out and stuff, it's really nice. It sounds very genuine. I mean, it's based on real analog gear, and there really is no difference with that with this particular plugin.
I have a question about boosting.
Yeah, go ahead. Ask away. Yeah.
Would it be smart to like use a maximizer before an EQ?
Not for EQ.
The maximizer is really a limiter for me. This is just my it's really a limiter. The thing is with a maximizer, what you're doing is you're boosting everything that is in that signal. So ideally, I mean, logic dictates that you should use a maximizer after you've EQ'd, because you can get rid of all your bad frequencies beforehand. So you've only got your nice frequencies available, and then boost those. If you use it the other way around, then you're going to boost everything that's in that signal, all those bad frequencies and everything, all that ground noise and everything's all going to be boosted, and you're going to have to work a lot harder with EQs to get rid of that. But it depends. I mean, it all depends on what you're trying to achieve. Some people like that dirty noise, you know, that they want the signal noisy because they're using it as an effect. The same way when you use a compressor, you want that pumping noise, that again, that's an effect of the compressor. It's not what it was originally done for, but that's what people have learned to do, and use it as an effect to help the music. You hear it a lot in sort of Euro dance kind of music, you know. I mean, big DJs like Avicii and Martin Garrix and those kind of guys, they all love that pumping sound, and they've used the compressors to do that, but they're using the gear for what it's for. So in terms of maximizing it before or after, it's a preference. I mean, I would boost that after, the end. So if I wanted to boost their kick drum, which is one of the places that I would use it to maximize, and a lot of people use it for, I would get rid of anything else, around above 230 and below 64. I would just get rid of that and then just boost that.
Mm-hmm.
That's where your kick drum tends to be, and then probably boost a little bit at the top end as well, which you could add afterwards with EQ, just to give it a bit of snap. But that's where I would put it. I don't know.
Good question. I'm sure there's guys out there right now that are maximizing before the EQ.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, if that's the kind of effect that you want, then that's fine if that's what you want. But normally, the maximize usually is the last thing in your chain, or one of the last thing in your chain, in the processing chain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree with that. I mean, one of the plugins the final plugin that I use that I like quite a lot, and it's just been recently, has been the Focusrite Red 3, the compressor. I really like it. It just sounds nice. It sounds really great on snares.
What do they call it?
Red 3. It's by Focusrite. It's
an
exact replica of their hardware Red 3, which is an outboard compressor. It sounds nice. I love it.
Yeah,
it's about.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that the red line, Focusrite Red Line series, that's the Lamborghini or the Cadillac of their hardware. So, that red line. If you're not familiar with it,
it's very nice. I shall get the outboard gear of that eventually, but I don't need it now because the plugin is as good as their outboard gear. So it's easy, it's quick, it's there. And you all know my argument for outboard gear versus software. But it seems to be my go-to plugin at the moment. If I want a compressor, I mean, I use loads of compressors, but different types, not all at the same time in the same mix. But the red one seems to be the one that I'm reaching for. Sort of, I need a compressor, and that's the first one that comes into my head. It's not always the right one. I use different ones, but
But
I'm thinking of a plug.
One of the ones. I'm sorry, Sip. It seems like we all. But one of the ones that I think lacks a lot of attention, and I think is really a good plug-in, is Guitar Rig. And the reason I say Guitar Rig because it has some excellent compressors, EQs, and mic freeze and other different kind of effects that's inside Guitar Rig. So I think that's really hot.
It's definitely one.
But
I'm thinking
those
of
plugins. But those plugins are more geared. I'm a bit of an audiophile sometimes, but the plugins in Guitar Rig are quite specific for the frequencies of guitars and bass and stuff. So that they tend to sort of be around the sort of the mids kind of thing. So it depends what you're using it for. But I do agree. I think they've got some great plugins, and it can bring. I mean, for example, using distortion on drums, it's really great too. So Guitar Rig's quite cool with that. I see Sip's got daddy issues.
I really do enjoy Guitar Rig. Like even it was a jazz beat, so I wanted to keep it with that jazz kind of feel when it came down to the kind of final mix of it. Yeah. So I said, let me try something. I want to see if I can mix through Guitar Rig. And I was able to, and it was like probably the best mixing I ever did in a long time.
Well, I'm gonna say something because I tried that one time, and all of y'all came at me and was like, "Yo, what the hell did you do? Yo, what did you do different? You didn't mix this right. Like you didn't put the EQ on the right chap. Like I did something different. I tried to use the Guitar Rig, and maybe I didn't know how to do it properly at the time or something." But I tried to take away my old formula of putting like a EQ, compression, and all of that. And I tried to use Guitar Rig's EQ or amp or whatever it's called. I think it's called amp or whatever. Amp. Yes. I used that. Y'all was like, yo, listen, nah. You got to go back. You got to EQ that right and compress that right. I was like, all right, I'm not using that no more.
No, but it's good to experiment. I think it's really great. And I mean, it's the same thing when I'm using compressors. Sometimes the compression, I always look through the presets just to see, because sometimes they give you an added effect, but I prefer to compress something from scratch. So I always have it at default, and then I do my own compression that way. But having said that, it's quite good to experiment with different presets. For example, a guitar compression might sound really great on a bass drum. So, you know, you have to experiment. So the same thing with, you know, the guitar stuff is, you know, it might sound really good on vocals or something like that, you know. So it does
actually.
I mean,
it does.
That's what we used to do, and it's the way that you discover new sounds, and that's how we get that foreign sounds, is by trying all those different things, doing stuff that people haven't done before.
Have any of you guys used the plug-in Serum, SERUM? I heard a lot about Serum or something like that.
No, I haven't used it yet. No, I haven't found to it yet.
No. Okay, me neither.
What's that
no,
about?
I just been.
Tell me about
I guess it's basically it's similar to Omnisphere, but it has like they took it on a different approach. They went into creating it.
I've tried it.
You've tried it?
I've tried it. And that has to be until I seen Rounds and Contour. That was the most alive plugin I've seen ever. Like, you use that thing and it scares you, man. Okay? The sounds and waves are jumping and doing this and sneaking on you and creeping. And yo, I'm telling you, that plugin is sick.
Definitely, definitely. Like
it's very active. Like, it's alive. You hit those keys and then you can direct it to do some real stuff.
Yeah, one of the stock plugins. Well, it's not stock plugin, but it was. In fact, it came with like an offer when we got Studio One. Was the soft tube saturation knob? I use that on loads of stuff. Loads of it. I love it.
It's good.
It's just basic standard, but just, you know, but it's it's a sweet plugin.
Tone Trap. You want to sit? Sorry.
Yeah, it's cool.
Tone Trap, we got a spot. Is he still here?
I don't know. Let's see who joins.
Okay, well, I have one more plugin I wanted to list off. And it's by IK Multimedia, Sample Tank 3.
All right.
It's more or less like a Contact.
Yeah.
It's like your Omnisphere, you know? It does all your synths, gives you all your virtual instruments. But what I like about it is the GUI. It just looks cool, and it's easy to get things done and figure it out. They got it very well divided. I wish I could show you guys it.
I mean, how do you find that really helps the user interface? That if it looks cool, it
keeps you drawn in more or less.
Yeah. Do you find it that it really affects your mixes as well?
The look of it affects your mix.
Yeah. No, the fact that it looks cool. It sounds bizarre, but it's. I mean, the fact that it makes you want to touch it. Do you know what I mean? You want to fiddle with it. You know, it looks cool. You know, I find that for me, if it creates, without getting all spiritual, but on screen where you've got all these windows open and stuff, if it actually looks cool and it gives a bit of color to your layout, and it creates this kind of techno karma, really. I find that my mixes actually feel better because you're in a different place. You're not kind of an angle or an edge. It just looks softer. It's nice. It's like having lava lamps in the studio and stuff. I mean,
yes,
I think it's got to be a studio standard to have a lava lamp, you know. But
another example.
It's nice.
Another example, when we got that KU10, that's Complete Ultimate 10, you know, and we share it as a group, iFSS, we share it, just letting y'all know. That's how we work. But when we got that Complete 10, me and Sip, we sat there going through Contact, checking out the new instruments, and Rounds and Contour. We were stuck on those two for a while, just going through.
I'll say one thing. One of those ones that I'm still right now, and I mean, it may be hard to replace it, is Polyplex. I'm really like the things you can do with Polyplex. You can eliminate a lot of things. Like, and even Polyplex plays drums and it plays melodies. It has a whole like it within. It's like a VST within a VST or something. I don't like. It's dope. It's really dope.
Yeah, it is dope. It is too. What'd you guys think about that drum lab?
Drum lab. I didn't get to utilize it as good as like the way it opened. I had to open up each drum on up in pad mode, and like it had a kit on each one or whatever.
There's a way you can open up in Machine, and it lights up your whole pads. I don't know what it was doing, but I was watching some video. It was just like, wow.
Yeah. I opened it.
I think it was in the tutorials at Ask Audio too.
The way mine open now, I don't know if it's something different, but like I had the 1.82 software before. Well, when I open up, like say for instance, a VST inside of Machine now, it didn't open up the platform where I could see it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like say for instance, you open Drum Lab will come up, or if I open Contact will come up as a Contact player, right? I didn't have a player version to look at when I was inside of Machine when I tried it. So I was like, oh, okay, I guess I needed to open it back in Studio One. Try that different way. Because that update is something serious. I'll tell you that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I'm just looking here.
Let me tell you about another good plugin, because I did pick 03, and I want to talk about this one because it's used in a lot of hip hop, and it's used for low ends. Like I've done some like mixing with it, but really no mastering yet. And I'm not really good at it, and you got to be really good at this plugin in order to use it good and very, very gentle. Otherwise, you do too much and it don't sound right. So you got to somehow understand it. And it's that by Refuel software, and it's Lowinder.
Right.
It's a dirty plugin, very dirty.
Yeah. Don't know.
Good for low ends and 808s. You want them to do all that sliding and nasty wavery stuff.
Yeah.
Lowinder.
Other than that, I would say I don't know if G-Snap is a free plugin, right?
I've heard about G-Snap.
Well, one thing I would say what I learned with G-Snap was like being able to get my stuff in tune or whatever, like not utilizing it just for singing through it or something like that, but utilizing it to get something in tune when I couldn't play notes as well or something like that. Like I maybe press a chord and it could snap a E into an A chord or something like that. It did that. Like it literally would do that. It used it for that.
Yeah.
Well, guys, that's pretty much it. Unless anybody else have anything to add about plugins.
Nope.
I want to say one more thing about plugins, though. Like, you got to be careful with your plugins, because I know dudes. Oh, I got 2,000 plugins.
Yeah.
How many do you use? How slow is your computer running? There's no sense having a whole bunch of them. You ain't going to use them, and it's just taking up your computer. And every time, guess what? This is what happens. Every time you load a DAW, these plugins load. It has to scan through them and then turn on your DAW. Isn't that how it goes? Or you have an option to turn it off, and most people don't know how to do that.
Right, you have an option. So I would say, like with that,
like crazy. I don't even know how to shut it off.
With that, I would say, like on average, out of all the plugins that we've mentioned, I maybe use when I'm using the plugins, I probably use 3 or 4 plugins. Out of all the plugin options I got on the average song, I'm using 3-4 plugins, not like every plugin in the arsenal. You know what I'm saying?
No. I don't
That's
do
something
that.
What's up? Yeah, I'd say just keep what plugins are good to you. Like one thing I like to do is I'm kind of like a hoe for this, but I like to download plugins and check them out, see if I like them. If I like them, then I buy them.
Yeah, that's a good way of doing it. That's what they're there for.
If they're not useful, get them off my system.
Yeah, exactly. I just don't like what IK Multimedia does, which is when you go to the custom shop, just downloads every single plugin specifically for that. So you buy more. I don't like that fact, and a lot of other people out there don't like it. I can switch it off in my system, but the fact is that they're there on my machine, taking up space. That's like 800 megabytes of useless plugins that I'm not even going to buy. If I'm interested in them, I'll go out and download specific ones to do it. That's part of the marketing that, the marketing department has just gone nuts, really, and just gone, oh, no, we're just going to stick it on the machine, and have it there. And if you try and uninstall them individually, then it cocks up your whole system. So, yeah, you're sort of forced to have to turn them off in your DAW and things like that. So that's a bit annoying. But I suppose from a marketing point of view, it's a good way of having it already on your client system, and then they can just go and, download it or try it out for a few days and then buy it if they like it. So,
pretty much.
Yeah, well, that's it from me. I'm just trying to find rounds. I haven't got rounds. I thought I had rounds. I don't have it.
It's in Reactor, right? Yeah.
Just a minute. Well, because I haven't even got round to it yet, because I don't use it that often.
Reactor.
Yeah, you got to get on that and check it all out. All that software is valuable.
Yeah,
it's some great stuff in there.
I haven't. The one I haven't used yet is that wire blocks.
Oh,
missing out! You missing out?
Yeah, Reactor.
Reactor
I have it, but
I definitely want to get the full version of that because the demo version is not enough. It just pisses you off.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good. It got some good sounds in there. A couple good sounds that I liked in the demo version that piqued my interest, basically in seeing what they had available. Because they got those. I don't know if people are familiar with those like ocean type of sounds or those airy sounds, but it's like a tone to it. But they got some air behind it. They got a lot of those type of sounds in there available, and that's like that smooth. I don't even know who raps over those type of beats anymore, but that's those type of beats.
They used to be real popular. This rounds temp shifter, you mean? Is that what it is?
Rounds.
Where's it under?
RONDS.
Yeah, I've got it. Well, what's it under? It's not. I haven't. Well,
if it's not in Reactor, just open up Contact. It should be in either one of them.
No, it's not in Contact.
Reactor.
Well, core cells. Well, no, nothing to do with that. Ensembles, nothing to do with that.
Yeah, rounds is in Reactor.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it. No, I can't find it. Well, player. Let me see player. Here we go.
Do any of you guys ever use battery that much?
Not yet.
I first got it last year. I tried to incorporate it. I really wanted to use it. It was cool. I like the way you can do the effects on it, but it's so much BS just to get it to work in your program. Like, it's not BS, but it's just a whole bunch of extra work and time that you're doing, basically. Like, if I was doing dubstep music, okay, yeah, I want to do all that crazy stuff to my kicks. It's easy to incorporate, but in hip hop, you're not really doing so many effects with your kicks. You know what I mean?
Well, not yet. Yeah. We're not gonna throw that out there. Not yet. Ooh. I might throw some effects on the kick and call it hip hop and make it foreign. Just put a foreign twist on it. You know.
Then you should check out Battery.
No, definitely I am. I'm gonna check it out. What's his name? K-Sound. Shout out to K-Sound. K-Sound just said that the other day. He was like, "Oh, I use Battery 4, and I can do everything in Battery 4." I was like,
Yeah.
But you know, I just got it, so I haven't had battery before. I'm not living testifying to it or nothing. I just got it. I haven't even opened it up yet. So
it's very good. It's very good, and it's very well made. Like
it depends. Yeah, I mean, instruments like that. I mean, I would use battery for if I was doing a typical, you know, heavy rock kind of session or rock session. I would use those kind of instruments to do stuff like that. I wouldn't look to it to be for me anyway, to be producing any hip hop or any stuff like that.
Well, it wouldn't be one of your normal go-to things, like I'm gonna go grab this battery forward and put these drums together real quick.
Yeah, I would if I was doing a rock session. If I was doing a rock session, I most definitely would. That would be straight away drums, battery for Bosch. There we go. And that's if I had to program the drums. Alternatively, you know, if you've got a real live drummer, then you know you'd have a real live drummer. But just going to talking about battery and stuff, one of the things that I did experiment years ago when I was recording was to get a live drummer to record on like a Roland to get MIDI into the machine. So then you could replace those drum sounds with drum sounds from battery. And that is really great. That's quite nice because then that way you're not having to spend a lot of time trying to it's a shortcut, but it's a good shortcut. You're not spending a lot of time messing around with mics trying to get it right, and if your drummer's not an amazing drummer and he's hitting the mics every time he's hitting the drums, which happens a lot in studios, which you to go out and you know redo it, or your sound engineer goes out, get them to play a MIDI kit, and the MIDI kit goes directly into your computer, so you capture the groove, and then you can replace that with some really big nice samples if you can't get those sounds you know, in the studio. So when I experimented with that, it was at the point that I was doing a band that I was recording was doing their demo, and they didn't want to spend any money. So to save, you know, hours of setting up mics and things in the studio, we just got straight in a Roland kit, set the drummer up, Bosch. Went there, did the groove, and then you could change it afterwards if you needed to change the groove slightly, or if it wasn't perfectly in time, you could shift it in time, and then just replace all the drum samples with big ones. And the drums sounded epic. That's a good shortcut to do.
Big Leaf got jokes. He made it a little eye.
yeah, a little eye.
That's how I put it over there. Correction. My bad. Little iFSS.
Yeah, little eye. Yeah.
There you go. Because you can't confuse that with the big I, because that's like mean the Illuminati or something like that. It's like default Illuminati or something. Yeah. But yeah, definitely, man. This is great plug-in talk, and that's something I did learn. So if I'm doing a rock track, which don't put that past me, I might be doing a rock track, and I might have to just grab battery for it. Techno,
EDM. You want to sing?
Yeah.
Do some. Yeah, man. It would be perfect for
I love that EDM stuff. That EDM stuff sounds great. Definitely does. Might venture into that. And you know what? I've noticed a lot of what we call hip-hop producers venturing into that avenue of EDM world or whatever, and I don't know why. Maybe they like it.
It's just a natural progression. The way everything's going, it's all coming together. So I think
right. That's a good point right there, Big.
That's it. That's what Big's saying. He likes rock drums on hip hop beats.
Definitely.
It sometimes works.
Rock vocals too. Sometimes, hey, it's like the same thing.
Yeah.
They're so close together.
Dizzy Rascal. That's a good British artist. Dizzy Rascal. He loves heavy drums and heavy distorted guitars on his stuff, and it sounds great.
Well, it does. It transitions very well between those two avenues, the rock rap thing. That transitions perfectly. I'm surprised there's not a lot of more productions like that.
That's right. I mean, it goes back to just. I mean, we're sort of skewing off now a little bit off plugins, but I guess it doesn't really matter. But I mean, you listen to crossover acts like Ice-T and things like that. You know, where he had body count and things. You know, sort of early '90s. That worked really well. Straight from a hip hop thing, bash straight into the meets hard heavy rock, and it worked really well.
Right.
You know, I mean, even stuff like Southern rock stuff, you know, like Kid Rock and things like that. That's sort of, you know, transitioning across, and it did.
Well,
then you've got other stuff.
And you got to mention Lil Wayne, because Lil Wayne made a rock rap album like nobody else.
Well, you had all the thing, didn't you? Like Limp Bizkit and
Limp Bizkit,
Linkin Park, and all those guys. They were from rock that transitioned over to hip hop. So definitely there is a big crossover there, and I think as rappers try to become more expressive, they're looking for that different sound. So I think it works well.
I mean, and you don't get shot at when you're screaming on the mic. I mean, that works out better that way.
Well, yeah,
like, you yell it, yeah. You say it like that. Nobody's coming at you, man. Nobody's going towards you.
Having said that, actually see half death doing a hip hop album.
Yeah, definitely. No, trust me though. Think about it. If you got somebody just rapping somewhere, like you might go over there and listen to them. But if they're over there in that corner and they're yelling songs in tune, you ain't going over there unless you know that song.
No, exactly. I mean, if they've got something to say, it doesn't matter what genre or style they do. It could be anything. I mean, you listen to some of Hank III's country stuff, and I mean, country music, was kind of sort of laid back, kind of happy kind of thing, rather than blues was like kind of grungy, sad. But you listen to Hank III's stuff, and I mean, some of it is just completely out there. It's nothing like what country set off to be. But it works well, and he's still country, and he brings all sorts of stuff into his music, and it sounds cool, it's different, it's fresh. So I'm all for that, trying and experimenting with different plugins to give you that foreign sound.
There's definitely some weird sounds out there that was born like that, because even with the blues, like you said a second ago, it's that grungy sound. But then I think of like Tyrone Davis and them, and Tyrone Davis blues was more like love songs. And it was like he went so far from the norm. Yeah. Well,
blues was always about how bad life is, how your woman left you, and how you're going to shoot her because she caught her cheating.
And then now he's singing the blues, and he's saying, I love this woman. And it's like, oh, that's different.
Yeah, but blues is good. But blues is
another
staple diet stuff. Music.
Another good plugin.
Another good
is that Output Exhale.
Output Exhale.
I really want to try that. I can't wait to get that. Oh my gosh! I tried the demo and it was giving me shivers, yo.
Yeah, you like it, yeah. I mean, a standard plugin that I quite like for cheap mastering. I'm not one for sort of whitewashing your whole mix, but I really like T-Rax. T-Rax is a really nice little plugin. It's just easy. So if you're doing, if you're a home producer or something like that, it's nice to stick at the end. Once you've done your mix, if you want a cheap master, then just run it through T-Rax. And it gives you a nice sound. It's controllable. It's not quite to the level of the, it's not, you're not going to be able to, get it in the shops or something. And I wouldn't advise it if you want to be a multi-platinum selling artist to use T-Rax. But for anything else, it is really good. And if you use it nicely and you use it well, you can use those bits just very subtly on your tracks. And it can give you just a nice, different, fresh perspective on an instrument or your overall mix. But it's quite a nice cheap go-to plugin that'll give you give you a big bang for your buck, basically. So if you go out and purchase that, it's worth it because it's not silly expensive.
Another plugin that nobody mentioned, and I don't use it, so I wasn't going to mention it neither. But when I was looking up plugins, every time I look up plugins, it pops up. It's in the conversation. It's Nexus and Nexus 2. That plugin right there, I haven't used it, but I've heard a lot of songs that came out of that in the modern day. So, like, if you're looking for some modern day sounds, that's definitely a good one. Nexus 2.
But I mean, having said that about plugins, though, it doesn't matter how many millions of plugins you've got. If you haven't got that thing, it's not going to work. You can throw plugins at it, but if you don't know how to use them, it's just going to mess up and muddy up your sound. So you've got to be, clever about how you use plugins. But
for sure at this day and age,
that's it's like goes back to kids in the box, isn't it? It's like, oh, look at all these toys. Plugins are toys, really, aren't they? You just mess around with it, get a good sound, and come up with something new. So yeah,
Yep.
it's not like what they were in the old days to replace just outboard gear. Now they're toys for sound creation and stuff. So yeah, so if you can do it, great.
Well, guys, that's it for today's show.
I think so.
Join us next week. We have a special guest. I'm not going to spoil it for anybody, but we have a special guest, and we're going to be talking more. I guess we're going to call it Volume 2 on branding and marketing.
Nice. Looking forward to that.
Going to be a lot of information. So have your notebooks, have your everything ready, and definitely take your brain food.
Good stuff. Looking forward to that. All right, guys.
So that's it for this week. iFSS, we out, and we'll see you next week.
All right, Meek out. See you later.
All right, guys.